We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers, so come on in and hit that sub button here on Chargers Now. What are you going to get? You're going to get constant coverage on your favorite team in LA throughout the offseason in the National Football League, and then we're going to build you all the way up until the draft, of course, taking you into training camp and the regular season. The more subscribers that we get, the more videos that we will be able to do on the channel. So come on in, hit that sub button. We're closing in on 2,000 subscribers. Now, let's get into today's video. This is Chargers Now. I am your host, Will Ortner, and there was some big news going on in the National Football League that, frankly, I think the Chargers are going to be able to take advantage of. This coming to us from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Tyreek Hill was released by the Miami Dolphins. Why is this a big deal? Yes, because Tyreek Hill is coming off of a major injury. He's on the wrong side of 30, but he is still a quality wide receiver in the National Football League. Could he add to this Chargers roster? Could he be someone that the Chargers pick up in free agency, especially if the price tag is very low? Well, also we found out from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, an NFL insider, that the Dolphins were also releasing veteran edge rusher Bradley Chubb. And I think that both of these moves by the Dolphins are very fascinating because I think that the Chargers could take advantage of this and make a big move in free agency. Both Chubb and Hill have shown that they can be very successful players in the National Football League. And both Hill and Chubb are in positions that I do think that the Chargers could use in free agency. So these are two players that at the very least, if you are Jim Harbaugh of the Los Angeles Chargers, you have to take a look. You have to at least kick the tires on both these players and see if they would be willing to come to LA. And if they would be willing to come to LA, how do they fit in the defense or the offense? Before we get into any of the breakdown, though, I want to ask you, who do you think that the Chargers should sign in LA? If it's Bradley Chubb, you're going to type BC down below in the comment section. If you think it's Tyreek Hill, you're going to type TH down below in the comment section. And if you think that it is neither, you are going to go down below in the comment section and make sure that you type NO because you don't want either one of these guys to end up in LA. When we are looking at these two guys and who potentially could be coming to LA, I think it's best to start at that edge rusher position, and I think it's best to start with a guy like Bradley Chubb. Should the Chargers bring back Bradley Chubb, or should they sign him, they wouldn't be bringing him back, with the potential of a guy like Oweh or Khalil Mack not necessarily coming back to LA. When I look at Bradley Chubb last year, obviously, it was a fairly successful year for a guy who's a little bit long in the tooth, been around the National Football League for quite some time. Chubb had a fantastic year, still going in, having 8.5 sacks, a lot of TFLs, a lot of big tackles for a team in Miami that the defense was good, but I wouldn't sit here and say that it was great. When you look at the last 4 seasons for Chubb, I think that this last season in 2025 is even more impressive because he is, remember, coming off of a torn ACL, so he wasn't even able to play in 2024, and he comes out and he still ends up being fantastic. Obviously, when you look at 23 and 22, a lot of success was still being had for a guy like Bradley Chubb. So when I look at Bradley Chubb and I look at the injury history, I look at his age, I look at the success that he's had on and off the field, I do think that there is a very good spot for Bradley Chubb here in LA. I think for the right price, the Chargers would be foolish not to go after Bradley Chubb, especially if you look at a guy like a Khalil Mack or Odafe Oweh, and let's say they decide to go somewhere else, or in the case of Khalil Mack, let's say he ends up retiring. You are going to need someone to step in and take over that edge rusher position. You are going to need someone who can perform at the highest level. Now imagine this crew, let's say Odafe Oweh comes back, now you have Bradley Chubb and Thule. Well, that's a pretty darn scary group that could be kicking through when you look at the defensive side for this Chargers. I also think that Bradley Chubb could easily step in and replace Odafe Oweh if that is the decision that they decide to go with, if that is the decision that they go and move on from. When we look at this crew, Thule obviously had a lot of success last year on that edge position, but there was a clear loss when Khalil Mack got hurt, and he was not performing at the highest level when he came back from that injury. Khalil Mack can still go, and he can still make a lot of plays in the run game and in the passing attack, get a bunch of sacks. But it is important to note that he is older. He is someone that gets hurt more and more. So maybe the Chargers could even go in and sign Bradley Chubb and use him in this defense, even if Khalil Mack does come back, and he can be more of an insurance policy. Or Khalil Mack can take on that role of a guy like a Von Miller, right? Think about Von Miller at the end of his career the last couple of years. He has been more of a guy that has been used sporadically. That can be something for a guy like Khalil Mack, too. So the more and more that I look into the stats, the more and more that I look into this defense, the more and more that I look into Bradley Chubb, the more I like him in LA. You be the GM, though. Do you want the Chargers to go and sign Bradley Chubb? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Just make sure that you do it down below in the comment section. Next player that we're going to talk about, of course, is that wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. Would the Chargers entertain signing Tyreek Hill in LA? He's the type of player that unfortunately is coming off of a very severe injury. That is why he only played in a handful of games last season. So the numbers are down. However, I would say it is important to note that his catches are still very high. It's also important to note that, well, he played for our new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. When you look at his stat line over the last 4 years, obviously a ton of success in 22 and in 23, but there is clearly a little bit of a regression in 24, and then obviously with the injury, you do see that really drop off. Now, Hill did have a lot of success with Mike McDaniel as his head coach, so the expectation would be if they do kick the tires on him and they do believe that Tyreek Hill is going to be able to play at the highest level, well, he would be able to have a similar type of success with Mike McDaniel in LA. He also fits into this offense where the Chargers need an extra wide receiver. He could help open things up more for a guy like Ladd McConkey or for Quentin Johnston as well, or for Keenan Allen. He is a player that there would be a variety of different uses that they could use for him in LA. All of that being said, no. I don't want Tyreek Hill at all in LA. Here is my reasoning. He is on the wrong side of 30, already 32 years old. He's coming off of one of the more severe knee injuries that I have seen in quite some time. He is a receiver that was already starting to regress because his greatest skill is his speed. He's slightly undersized. He's not going to be able to go make big-time contested catches. So when you factor all of that in, with also the type of locker room headache that he has been known to be from time to time, it just doesn't make sense to me. When we look at the wide receiver depth chart right now for the Chargers, obviously there is a little bit of room there for some improvement. Maybe a guy like Harris could step in to that Keenan Allen role. I know a lot of people are really excited for what the Ole Miss wide receiver can do and is going to be able to do if he grows into his potential. To me, it makes sense to give him more of a run or to bring it back with Keenan Allen. I want Tyreek Hill nowhere near this team. I don't think that he makes financial sense. I don't think that he fits in with this crew. And I think you're adding in someone that could be a locker room cancer, and you just don't need that in LA. To me, if you want to go out and make a move with one of these two players, sign Bradley Chubb. I think he would be fantastic in LA. He would fit in with what Coach O'Leary wants to do with the defense. He builds through the trenches. The team stays strong. Tyreek Hill, no shot. Do not bring him anywhere near this team. I don't think he helps put you over the top to win a Super Bowl. And if he's not going to put you over the top to win a Super Bowl, then there's no reason to entertain any of the things that he's got going on, whether that's physically or, like I said, as a potential locker room cancer. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button. We're always trying to grow. And we always love when you guys hit that thumbs up button. It helps us know that we're talking about content that you want to see on the channel. As well as make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Can we get to 2K by the end of the week? I think that we can. Help us out. Subscribe to the channel and share the videos with your friends who love the Chargers so that way they can subscribe as well. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and bolt up.